Hello everyone, welcome back to Black Heaven, a necromantic dating sim. Let's go ahead and continue. You remember the Lotus Gambit, don't you? If I really do know you, then I'll know your moves, even without seeing your pieces. The ghost looks at the paper lotus, then raises its hand. It hesitates, then takes the flower with its fingertips. I remember folding these. 1,000 tiny flaws add up to a person. That's right. Here, sit down with me at the table. No play. You set up the pieces and sit down at the table. The ghost sits down, but the moment it notices the lit candelabra, it jerks away and stands up. Put that out! Rue's ghost, again, is still very hot. I would smash. You quickly reach up and extinguish the candles with your fingertips, wincing from the pain. The library is plunged into darkness again. You can still hear Rue's ghost breathing. Sorry. Please, sit down. It's okay. You hear the chair across from you drag against the floor, indicating that the ghost is sitting again. You shakily hand the cards across the table and set them down. You hear the ghost pick up 2 of them, then set the others on the tabletop. You can't see what cards are left, but you know what Rue always chose. Nunchaku and Katana. If I remember right, pick Nunchaku and Katana, because they seem strange to most players. Their parents lock together in unexpected ways. You hear the ghost grunt a little. Like a jigsaw puzzle? Yes. And you remember what I always picked, right? You take the cards and draw out the Gunsen and Kama, finding them based on their familiar worn edges. Uzo picked the Gunsen and Kama. Can't see in the dark, can it? You tell your cards for it to reveal their faces. The ghost grunts again. The Lotus Gambit. You had to play blindfolded. I have 1 piece. You have 3. Yeah. But I don't have a blindfold. And since we're playing in the dark, well, I guess I don't need one. Is that okay? Yes. Okay, we're playing now. Rue's music for this section is really somber. It's sad and nice. Let's that is wide. Damn, this music is really good. Did I notice this for the other girls? Okay, so gotta play carefully because she has something that goes down the middle. And our important piece is right down the middle, so... to protect... to use katanas down there. Nope. Okay, she's using nunchuck. Let's protect. Let's protect. That. She's using nunchuck. Okay. Let's go. Okay, she ate that. So, she's going for nunchuck again. This one's hard. Then katana again. Okay. There. What happens if I lose? Okay, let's put that there. Oh, she ate that. I'm losing. Okay. Let's go. That one. I've won. Okay, what happens if the ghost wins? You sigh and cross your arms. Looks like my predictions were off. I wondered if you'd take that route. You always seem tentative and shy on the outside, but inside, you are fierce. It's born out of your inner moves. I remember when we first played. It was at the faculty winter party, and we were looking for something to do while we waited for the banquet. We both had matching, what do you call them? Tokens. A folded lotus on our collars. That's right. Is it okay if I light a candle? I can put it down on the floor near my chair, so you don't have to see it. Oh. Okay. You pause. That was her voice. You set the candlestick down by your feet and light it. The flame is obscured by the table above it, but in the dim ambient light you can see the shadowy figure of Rue on the other side of the table. And the music. The composer for this game is really good at his job. Like, Rue's not my uber favorite, but her theme is really good. Especially the distorted version. She looks just like how you remember her, down to the silver buttons on her jacket. Rue looks back at you, seemingly entranced. Yuzo, it is you. I never thought I'd see you again. Am I going mad? She looks at you with panic in her eyes. Am I mad? No, it's me. I'm here. You're not mad. You reach out to touch her hand, but your hand passes through hers. The motion seems to break her out of the trance. God, it's been... She gets up from her seat, walks closer, then wraps her arms around your shoulders and squeezes you tightly. The sensation is cold and prickling. It feels like your body is falling asleep. I've missed you. I've been alone for... Her voice stops and she lets you go. Oh God, Rue's form wavers like a piece of cloth whipped by the wind, and you see that her eyes are wide and terror-stricken. Oh God, help me! Don't go! It's okay. I'm not going anywhere, it's alright. Trust me, it's going to be okay. I remember. Rue's face twists from horror to suspicion, then to rage. She backs away from you, pointing at you as she does. Get away from me! You are a liar! You ruined my life! You ruined everything! Go! Go away! I hate you more than anyone! Rue, it's Shut up! Just go! Rue tries to take another step back, but some invisible force seems to stop her. Her eyes fall on the grim wire, and she grits her teeth in anger. You tricked me. You said you'd let me out so I could... As Rue speaks, you see her body begin to change. The frame elongates and grows taller. Clothes unravel, and her fingers begin to stretch. Rue, calm down, And you put me in that hole. You're a monster. Her voice becomes raspy and paper-like, and here the books around you start to rustle. One of the books falls off a nearby shelf, then another. Slowly, they begin to move her toward Rue, pulled by an invisible force. All the while, her features continue to warp until the thing standing in front of you is the same ghost that you'd seen at a lecture building. The books on the floor open, and pages begin to tear themselves out and fly across the room. They stick to the ghost's body, covering her skin in a cocoon of paper. I hate you. I hate you so much. You look at the grimoire and desperately reach for the cover. With one swift movement, you slam the book shut. Immediately, the ghost disappears, leaving nothing but pages fluttering to the floor. You sit frozen at the table for a long time before raising your hands to your face and letting your elbows rest on the table. She was there. For a second. It was Rue again. She remembered me. Her words echo in your head. I hate you. I hate you so much. You rub your masked face with your bloody, bruised palms. I didn't know I say about building reports. Be polite. Bring gifts. Do favors. Maybe I'll try to bring her a gift. I'm in the library after all, and we love books. It shouldn't be hard to find one she likes. Read a passage from Colder Winters, find a book on anatomy. Maybe she would like the Colder Winters. Find a book on anatomy. Like the anatomy thing, I'm sure she's seen a ton. Maybe let's try the Colder Winters. As you stand, you remember something from the faculty building. The book you had taken from that stack. You reach into your satchel and pull out the battered book. Colder Winters by Kokolo. You open the cover but find that the pages are smeared with ash. Damn. Maybe I can find another copy of it in the shelves. You check the catalog that you pick up to find an Okazi and search the columns for poetry. You find it after a few seconds of searching, aisle 143. You tuck the guide under your arm and start walking toward the shelves. You find aisle 143 after a short walk and search the shelves for a few minutes before finding the slim volume nestled between two other, thicker poetry collections. You pull out the book and open it, letting it rest in your palm, as a light from your candelabra illuminates the pages. You start to read as you walk back to your table. The first few poems are short and sparse rhymes about frozen water and the stars. Mirror. Reflecting the moon. A mirror mirrors a frozen fountain. Alone in the city. Silent as I am. Stars. Lying on a rooftop, I sip from a glass bottle and wait for sleep. In between earth and sky, I gaze at the space between stars and recognize the blissful emptiness that seeps into my skull. Reading those lines, you feel a sense of melancholy pervading them. Seems like a lonely kind of person. When you make it back to your table near the entrance, you found another poem, Eternity. To build a staircase that never ends, to discover the contours of paradise, to count the infinite stars a second time, to understand the eternity that lies between here and death. Only one is a soul. His great mystery lies unsolved. You sit down and read through the poem again, letting its rhythm sink into your head. I could quote some of these. Maybe that would put her in a good mood. You sit down at the table and read through the rest of the collection. Not sure how much time passes, but you want to memorize a few of the poems. Finally, you set down the book and look down at the grimoire. Okay, let's try this again. You turn to Rue's page in the grimoire and take a deep breath. However, before you say her name, you notice the flickering light of the candelabra on the paper. She doesn't like fire. You lean forward and blow out the candles, then say her name. Rue Okazi. You feel the air grow colder, and you hear the ghost crawl out of the book again. Its hoarse, rasping voice whispers from the dark. Go away. Leave me alone. I know, but just listen. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Just get away. You inhale and prepare yourself. Which one should I recite? Stars Eternity. Oh my god, I had to pick. I think I like Mirror. You begin reciting Mirror, emphasizing the pauses between each line and letting the words linger for a little while. Reflecting the moon, a mirror of mirrors, frozen fountain, alone in the city, silent as I am. You finish the poem and gaze at the ghost, waiting for some response. It stands there frozen for a long time. Finally, it speaks. Kakala. It's from colder winters. That's right. If I remember right, your master gave you that book when you were still a student, right? Master Barras. You told me about Kakala that day, back when we were talking about our old mentors, remember? I remember. You smile somberly at the ghost. You're a good teacher, even if you didn't believe it. I always felt like there was so much more they could have taught me, but I only scratched the surface of it all. You were a good student. You understood when I spoke, and you were patient. I remember. You helped me with my work, even if you didn't understand, not fully. You have an arm. I gave you an arm. I cut out the old one and gave you I grew it. Do you still have it? You pull up the sleeve of your jacket and lean forward so that you can rest your arm on the table. You feel a strange sensation of the ghost touching you, like your skin is falling asleep under its fingertips. It's very smooth. Few lesions. You feel excitement rising inside you. She's calmed down. You can talk to her. No, I was resistant to the disease and I got treatment early, I think. How did you escape? I lied to the soldiers at the front gate. I told them I was a faculty member and that I had to get out. I see. They were only letting out senior faculty. The rest. You interrupt the ghost before it can start to remember how it died. Hey. I realize I have never told you something. What? You struggled to come up with something that would interest Rue's ghost. Something personal that would show that it can trust you. You look around at the towering bookshelves standing in the dark. Well, I wish I had a tutor like you when I was younger. I had to teach myself to read, and that was hard. Well, what I mean to say is that I had to learn a lot on my own. Eventually I found someone to teach me, but before that, you didn't have a tutor. Oh no. I could count really well though. I could do addition and subtraction and division and things like that. That came easy to me. Once I'd figure out the little patterns, but reading was a lot harder. The first thing I ever read was a pamphlet for a guy's funeral procession. You were in the procession? No. They would... Back in Senkaku, when someone rich or famous died, their friends or family would print these cheap little pamphlets about their life. We're trying to make sure people would know how great the dead person was so that they wouldn't be forgotten. A lot of it was bullshit. They gloss over the ugly things they'd done, play up the good stuff. This guy was different. Normally, a funeral procession wasn't a big deal. It was a big deal. Close the street down and they'd have people at the start of route who would hand out money to people to act like mourners. The bigger the crowd in a procession, the better. People would go wild too. They pretend they were so bereaved that they would rip their clothes and smear mud on their faces. That guy. He had a river of people behind him. Thousands and thousands. Rich people and poor people. And what amazed me was everyone was silent. No theatrics. They seemed genuinely sad. Somber. They gave me these pamphlets and I kept it for years and years. Who was he? He was an architect. Built some of the most beautiful buildings in the city. Palace, the halls of justice, and one of the libraries. It took me a while to read the pamphlets. But when I finished, I realized that I recognized a lot of those buildings. And I thought to myself, who was this guy? So I started visiting his buildings, starting with his library. You laugh a little under your breath as you remember the feeling of walking to the entry hall for the first time. I was awestruck. There I was, barely able to read, and here were floors and floors of shelves, packed with I didn't even know what. There were history books, biographies, chemistry manuals, play scripts, and it was all silent. There must have been hundreds of people in there any hour of the day, but it was always quiet. I was just a street kid. I didn't grow up around books or nice places like that, but I felt like there was something to that library that felt right. Why? Did you ever learn why? I did, but not until years later when I came back during my apprenticeship under my first master. You know, mansions have parlors and studies and gardens and verandas. All these rooms and layouts are based on the fashion of the time. And most official buildings like temples and courthouses are big monolithic things that are supposed to make you feel small and respectful. But that library was built to mirror the human body. The wings were laid out like arms and legs. The spine was the main hall where you'd have access to everything else. The walls were curved like a rib cage, and it meant that the edges of the room were always the places where people could sit and read. The place was huge, but it just felt natural to navigate it. the human body recognizes itself, even if it doesn't realize it. Yeah, exactly. Sounds like you loved that place. I did. It made me feel like I was at home. Every library I've been in since has felt that way too. Guess I never realized it, but that's probably one of the reasons why I liked libraries. After a while, though, I just associate the silence with the lack of people. The silence was comforting because it meant I didn't have to deal with anyone. I could be alone. Did you like being alone? You feel a shiver run through your body. The question touches something deep inside you, but you're not sure what. I used to think so. Thought if I could just be alone with my work, and I'd be happy. When I'm around people, I find myself. You pause. Can't quite put the last part into words. Being afraid. No, not quite. I feel like I can feel their eyes on me. I can tell that they have an image of me in their heads. For a long time, I tried to show... How do you say it? Try to cultivate a persona that I liked. You would pretend. Yeah. Just like those people in the funeral processions. The ones who would put on a show. You stare into the dark for a while, letting the memories trickle through your mind. I read a lot about that architect. The biographies and stuff said he was private, boring kind of guy. Never flamboyant. They joked about how unfashionable he was. No friends. I'll always remember what he said to one of the biographers when they asked him why he never did public appearances. He said he wanted his work to speak for him. In watching his procession, it was as silent as that library. No one had to say a goddamn thing. I thought to myself, I want to be like him. I want to make something so great that I don't need to explain myself to anyone. All I have to do is point at it. The silence that follows stretches on for a long while, then from the dark you hear the ghost's voice. I remember that architect, Vitris. Some of the buildings at Itzan were inspired by his work. As you said, he had no friends, no lovers, for 50 years of his life. He studied architecture. He said his work was all he had. The engraving on his tomb. What was it? Alone with eternity. You remember the stories you'd read from one of the biographies about how he would spend nights alone in those vast, incomplete buildings. You glance around the darkness, imagining the high ceilings of the library above you. Then you imagine the soaring interior of the library in Senkaku. You remember the curve of the walls and the whisper of footsteps as people wandered the shelves. You realize it's still there, but now it's probably as dead as empty as this place. Even if you saw it again, it'd only be another tomb. Now I realize being alone can be terrible if you can't stand yourself. You raise your eyes to where you imagine Ruth's ghost stands. Before I say anything else, I want to say that I'm sorry for everything. Spend years thinking about you, and it's on, and you can't finish the sentence. Tears well up in your eyes, and the words catch in your throat. You sit there wiping your eyes, trying to keep the weight of years of misery from breaking you completely. Then, you hear Rue's voice. I remember a room, a meeting room, and you're sitting at the front of the room talking, and I can feel myself falling apart. But I can't remember the rest. It's all scattered. I can only remember the edges of it. The only thing that's clear is the hatred. It's cold and sharp. So sharp. You inhale, trying to clear your nose. You finish wiping your eyes and nod your head. Why can't I remember? I feel like this is something I should remember. Because you're a ghost. The words hang in the air for a few seconds. You know it's a risk to confront a ghost with its own death, but you're done trying to trick Rue. No, I'm not. You sigh as Rue's voice becomes more hoarse and raspy. Is it okay if I light a candle? Just for a little while. Yes, just keep it away from me. You strike your match and light the candelabra, shedding light on the grimoire, and Rue's ghost sitting in the chair across from you. I wish this visual novel got more funding on Kickstarter. I feel like it would benefit a lot with more CG art. Like this scene in particular, that would be a good art. You open the grimoire and turn to the page with Rue's soul diagram, then turn the book around so that our ghost can see it. I'm guessing you know what a grimoire is. And that is her soul, there on the page. The ghost leans forward to look at the diagram, stares at it for a long time before saying anything. I can see my memories, from when I was a little girl all the way to... Ghost rears back suddenly, covering its face with its hands. Close it, it's too much. Shut it, I can't look. You close the grimoire with a heavy thud. On the other side of the table, the ghost begins to sob. Oh God, I saw it. What? I can't. I don't want to say. Oh God, it's too awful to say. It's alright. You don't have to say it. I'm dead. I died a long time ago and I've been trapped. Oh, it's like a nightmare I can't wake up from. You reach out to touch the ghost's shoulder. Your hand passes through it. I'm sorry. The ghost lowers its hands and see its eyes staring back at you. Can you help me? What do you mean? Can you help me remember? It feels like there are so many parts that have splintered off. I can only remember pieces, bits and pieces. Is there a way to... Can you make me remember? I don't know. I can try to enter your memories using the grimoire, but I don't know how to help you remember everything. I remember the shape of some of them. The ones that matter. I can feel their outlines. If I could just remember those, maybe I could string everything else together like a chain. Please, just try to help me piece them all together. Alright, I'll try. Where should we start? Anything would be better than this. Sad memories, happy memories, whatever you can find. Alright, let me look. You turn the grimoire around again and open it. You find Rue's soul diagram and stare down at the shifting shapes. You touch one of the points in the patterns and see a word fade into view. Terrasia. The room around you fades from view and you feel yourself falling. Whoa. You smell old yellowed paper and dust and open your eyes to find sunlight streaming through the windows of a large private library. It's got a telescope. Shelves stretch up to the ceiling and polished wooden ladders stand against them, attached to gleaming brass rails. In the center of the room is a massive brass telescope on a stone podium, glinting in the light. From the light coming in through the windows, I guess it's the early afternoon. The room is silent except for the sound of a page turning. We turn around and find Rue curled up in the chair, facing an empty fireplace. She has a thick book spread open on her lap, and we walk closer to peer over her shoulder. You find that it's a bestiary. Rue seems to be immersed in the colorful illustrations. You notice that her fingers fidget while her eyes soak in the intricate notes on the diagrams. Rue's head suddenly perks up, and you hear the sound of footsteps and muffled voices. The door to the library opens, and two stately-looking men walk in. There you are. Please come and say hello to Master Terrasia. Rue slides out of her chair and lowers the heavy book onto a side table. She walks to the doorway and bows slightly to Master Terrasia. Terrasia looks to be about 40 with a short brown beard, and a set of round spectacles. He's dressed in a finely tailored suit, but you notice that's slightly worn. Master Terrasia offers a hand to Rue, and she takes it. Ah, we finally meet, Mr. Okazi. Your father has been telling me about you at length. Oh, I forget. Are you 13 or 14? 14. Wait, what? She looks... I see. And you're already delving into Cesari's bestiary, I see. That one is a bit technical. Rue nods and holds her hands behind her back while looking at Terrasia's shoes. I don't understand all of it yet, but I'm learning. Rue's father pats Master Terrasia on the shoulder and motions to the door. I'll leave you two to the talk. Call me when you need me, yes? Oh yes, sure. I'm guessing she looks like that in her memories because that's how she pictured herself when she died. Rue's father steps out of the library and closes the door while Master Terrasia takes off his jacket and hangs it on a hook on the wall. He unslings a small satchel from his shoulder, which he'd been carrying under his coat. The bag is rectangular and seems to hold exactly one book. Rue stands stock still, watching Terrasia without moving her head. When he turns around, he notices how stiffly she's standing. You can relax. I'm not here to test you. Not yet, at least. All I want to do is meet you. Meet me. Terrasia walks across the room and sits in the armchair next to Rue's original seat. He picks up the bestiary and begins to flip through it. Yes. Come. Sit down. Rue crosses the room quickly and sits in her armchair again. But she sits on the edge of it and folds her hands in her lap. Terrasia gazes solemnly down at the pages of the book for a few seconds before speaking. Which one has caught your eye? The horse? The sea cow? The hummingbird, actually. Ah, the hummingbird. Terrasia flips to the page almost immediately, as he knows the page by heart. It's a strange creature. By rights, it shouldn't even exist. It's so fragile, so small, and yet it does. Why do you like it? Well... Oh, I'm sorry. My parents keep saying I shouldn't say and all the time. She still stares like when I know her. Terrasia waves a hand, looks up from the book, gives Rue a tired smile. It doesn't matter to me how you speak. What matters to me is up here. He taps the side of his head. Rue beams at him and raises her eyes to the ceiling, as if trying to think. Well, the hummingbird's heart, it's so small and yet it beats so quickly. It seems like it must have a strong little heart to move so fast. Indeed. Their tiny hearts are incredibly resilient. Tarasia looks back down at the book, frowning at the tiny text. Are bestiaries your usual fare, or are they just a little curiosity? I read books of lots of things. I read a few books on the history of Okazi, one about the ways to build ships, and a couple of essays from Hexagraphica. Tarasia winces as Rue mentions the last book. Hexagraphica? That's a dull, dry book. Helpful, insightful, and a landmark of mathematics. He looks over at Rue with a sly expression. But terribly dull, even for me. And I've made a career reading dull books. Rue giggles and relaxes back into her armchair. It's not so bad. They just take a long time to explain everything. Yes. When you go on for 16 pages about whether or not 0 exists as a number, my eyes start to glaze over. Rue laughs again and grips the armrest of her chair. So you don't like mathematics? No, I love it. I love the beauty, the symmetry, the elegance of unfolding theorems. It's music. Frozen music, if you know how to look at it. Which is why I brought this. Tarasia reaches into his satchel and lets out a silver book. The covers are 2¼ thick sheets of metal, and the pages seem to be stamped from steel and bound in heavy rings. He opens the book and begins turning pages, revealing that each one is blank except for a series of holes punched in the metal and intricate hair-thin engravings. Ah, here we are. Should you close the curtains for a moment? Sure. Rue jumps out of her chair and jogs over to the windows, pulling the velvet ropes that keep them hanging on either side of the glass panels. Ooh. The room is plunged into darkness, save for the ambient glow around the edge of the curtains. This back in his hall is really nice. Alright, look up at the ceiling. Rue climbs back into her chair and looks up. Tarasia whispers to the book, and faint lights begin appearing above his head. Above your head, you see the darkened ceiling begin to light up as hundreds, then thousands of stars appear across its surface. Instead of the glass panels of the ceiling, however, all you can see between the stars is inky blackness. Then silvery lines begin to connect some of the stars, tracing the familiar designs of constellations. Soon the entire ceiling is filled with vast tapestry of points and lines, all slowly rotating overhead. Wow. Gets better. Tarasia whispers to the book again, and the patterns on the ceiling descend until they hang in the air a few feet above the floor. Rue is suddenly submerged in the stars, and Tarasia's head pokes above them, his grin illuminated by a sea of light. Rue is not my favorite girl, but, I feel really bad for her. She's just a good girl with unfortunate habits. The whole firmament spins in slow motion. Then bits of flotsam caught in an eddy. Rue reaches out to touch one of the stars, but her hand passes through it. Maybe people have forgotten that the skies are a gigantic clock. And if you know how to read the patterns, you can tell the day, the hour, and the season. Rue stands up and walks to the stars, looking down at them as she turns in place. I've never seen them like this. It's beautiful, isn't it? I think it's even more beautiful when you see the patterns. Yes, definitely. They move together. Tarasia nods and sighs. He gestures at the starry expanse and leans back in his chair. Mathematics isn't a dusty old pastime fit for bookkeepers and scholars. This is what it is. Rue turns to look at him.
This is amazing. How have I not seen a book like this?
Huh. Because I invented this type of book. I have the only copy. Tarasi sounds strangely defeated when he says that. You notice the melancholy look on his face. Rue sits back down in a chair and gazes at the disc of lights before lifting her eyes to Tarasia.
You don't sound very happy.
Tarasi sighs and places one finger on a star. The entire firmament stops in slow rotation. As your father said, I'm here to decide whether or not I want to become your private tutor. Tarasia pauses for a while before going on. His eyes drift between the stars, as he's trying to find the right way to say what's coming next. You're old enough for me to speak to you like an adult, I imagine. I've heard you're quite mature for your age.
I suppose so.
And I'll tell you a secret. Several families have asked me to tutor their sons and daughters. And I've learned that very few of them really want me.
What? Why?
Because knowledge and nature, mathematics and music is valued less than manners, politics, and fashion.
But don't the academies of immortality want all those things? The first three, I mean.
And that is why I'm in high demand.
I don't understand. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. For someone like you, it must be hard to imagine how a certain cut of silk dress could compete with the dance of the stars. From what I've heard, you love to learn. Before people your age, all this. Tarasia gestures at the frozen stars. It's just a necessary evil. A dry, dull part of their continued education.
But I don't feel that way. I'd like to have you as my tutor.
Tarasia sits up in his chair and leans forward so that his elbows rest on his knees. And that's why I'm considering turning the others down in favor of you.
Really?
Yes. From what your father tells me and what little I've seen of you, I think you might be the kind of person that will appreciate my tutelage.
I'll try my best, Master Tarasia. I admit, I'm a bit apprehensive about learning mathematics.
Well, it's not my intention to pigeonhole you, Miss Okazi. Though I love the intricacies of mathematics, perhaps your mind is more disposed to another subject. But first, although it's a difficult question, I want to ask, where do your ambitions lie? Rue leans to one side and rests her chin on her fist.
My older siblings, my brother and sister, will be steering the family fortunes, so to speak. They've been preparing for that forever. Which leaves me somewhat unmoored. I don't have any responsibilities, and I doubt I'll be much consequence for my family.
I think you underestimate yourself, Miss Okazi. The life of an intellectual is never inconsequential.
But I don't know what I want to study or be intellectual about. I'm interested in so many things, but they're mostly hobbies.
So your interests are spread out over a wide range. Let me ask you this. If you were to create something or discover something, what would you relish most? The thrill of seeking your work coming to life, or accolades that came with it, or the knowledge that you had changed the world in some small way? Rue thinks for a while, then crosses her arms and nods.
The last one. Changing the world in a small way. Though the thrill of discovery is exciting too.
Now let me ask you this. Have you considered studying the art of immortality?
Somewhat. I only know a little bit about the schools. I was a little tentative about spending several decades confined to one place, like a month. Terasa breaks into a grin. That's one of the beautiful things about the academies. One campus can contain many worlds. Though I never attended a massage school, I've learned that from many who have. Made friends with even more. That campus appears as one tower, but inside, each floor can be as large as a continent. I guarantee you'll never feel confined there. And even its son, Togeron School, is large enough to be a city. There are parks, lakes, statue gardens. What about the third school?
Oh. Botanic School is very different. Artists in iconoclasts find it quite liberating. I think their definition of scholarship is quite alien to you and I. Things are very loose and strange, and you'll naturally be asked to give your body upon admission. Rue frowns and raises her eyebrows, almost as if she smells something foul.
I like to keep my body, I think.
Well, what are your feelings about building your own world?
What do you mean?
In Almasad School, the students construct small, self-contained places where time moves differently. It begins as a small, timeless garden can grow into a little country, sculpted by your own hand.
What? I thought Amasat students only cultivate the land around them.
No, that's just how the initiates begin. After they learn to shape the world by hand, they move on to create their own.
Wow.
Rue sits back in a chair. Her eyes lose focus, and you can tell that she's trying to fathom the possibilities.
What do they do once they create their own small world? Do they live alone in it for eternity?
Some do. Most invite their families or friends or loved ones. They share their timeless world with a few others.
Isn't that confining? Stay in the little world that you created?
I found that those who reach that point could spend their whole lives exploring a single mile of forest land. Their eyes are so trained to appreciate every small detail that to them, their worlds are full of wonders. That's what they strive to create, small slits of wonder, all to themselves.
That is very intriguing.
But my parents say it's not good to cut yourself off from reality.
And that's what they're doing, aren't they? Creating their own little realities.
Well, yes.
I see. Well, what about the last school? Togeron's Academy.
Its son is the oldest and most respected. As you probably know, they focus on physical immortality.
Physiomancy.
Right. They have 3 sub-schools, one for physical augmentation, one for regeneration of the flesh, and one for creating artificial vessels for the soul.
So I imagine they focus mostly on anatomy.
Correct. They're masters of the physical and spiritual dimensions of human form. And unfortunately, I have run out of time. But if you guys are enjoying this video, please leave a like, comment what you think so far. Did you change your minds about the girls or the ghosts? And if you want to watch more videos of this visual novel, please take a look at the playlist down below. If you want to watch other visual novels that are pretty cool, please check my channel down below. Anyways, thank you, and take care.